What is it like being a Jamaican living in West Virginia? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, founder of Jamaicans.com, and today in Jamaicans to the World, I speak to Greg Mundy and Samanthia Johnson, Jamaicans who are living in West Virginia. Hi, Samanthia. Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hey, good. How you doing?
Good.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I see, Greg, you're there, bunched up. Is it getting cold up there in West Virginia?
Boy, I tell you something. Anytime it's below 70 degrees for me, that's cool.
Samantha, you're in a sweater too. Are you? Is it cool?
I'm actually in a t-shirt because it's actually pretty
Oh,
warm for November, honestly.
Mhm.
So it's my cold is much lower than Greg's. So
uh,
yeah, courtesy
Christmas.
of living in Michigan for a couple of years. So yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, that'll do it for you.
Yes.
all right. So I'm going to start with you, Samantha. Which part of Jamaica are you from?
I am from Portmore, the Sunshine City, but my family is from St. Elizabeth, Lacovia, and Middle Quarters.
All right. I'm a Portmorite too. So big up, big up, big up. Greg?
Oh man, well, I guess I could say I'm affiliated with Portmore, but realistically, I am a St. Andrew boy, Kingston 6 city boy through and through.
All right. And Samantha, which school you representing in Jamaica?
The Immaculate Conception High School for girls.
Okay, Lady in Whites. Is there a teacher that you remember that really impacted your life from Immaculate?
There are a lot of teachers that had a lot of impact for me in high school, but I must say, speaking especially for my year group, or principal at the time, Sister Angela Harris, she's now passed away. She was just, she taught us to be a phenomenal woman, and that's a big part of the reason how I am today. So I must give her credit for that.
All right. So, Mr. Greg, which school you representing? I know which one
Well,
already, but I'll let you tell the world.
absolutely. Representing the boys in blue, Jamaica College.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep,
Is
fervent.
there fervent, my friend, fervent? Is there a teacher that was at JC that impacted your life?
Oh yes, absolutely. Um, Mr. Pink, computer science teacher, he was one of those folks that really gave me a lot of latitude to explore when I was getting interested in computer science. And he helped to really shape a lot of the way that I pursued my career, my aspirations. And I have to give him credit for that. But I don't know. Um, if you might remember this teacher too. I think her name was Miss Smith. She was a Spanish teacher. Does that name ring a bell?
No, Miss Smith
Uh,
wasn't back when I was there. I didn't
okay,
know Miss Smith.
might have been Miss Smith, but it was a Spanish teacher who also was a big influence for me. And languages was something that I never really thought much about until I took her Spanish class. And I actually did a little bit of Spanish. So, hablo un poquito de español también, Gotta
Oh,
gotta keep it gotta keep it a little bit diverse here.
oh, you could live in South Florida then, in Kingston 21, as we call it down here.
Indeed, indeed.
So for you, Samantha, tell me what was, you moved to America or you're here, what was the biggest culture shock for you moving from Jamaica to the United States?
I must say the food was the biggest culture shock. But I mean, of course, the cold, because I left Jamaica in 2013 and started school in Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Pretty most of my family thinks I went to school in Canada, pretty much. So that was definitely a culture shock, seeing snow for the first time and having to experience not a lot of sunshine, just straight white outside. So that and not being around like people who are familiar, being able to talk patois comfortably, you know what I mean? So that definitely but of course the food, because I'm a foodie, so I love food. So that was a big thing for me.
Man. Greg, what was it the biggest culture shock for you moving to the US?
Um, I will definitely say, like Samanthia, I love food too, and the switch in food was one thing, but I tell you, the big thing for me was the change of seasons. Like I came in December, and that was my first time seeing snow. And let me tell you, I had on a long sleeve shirt because people are like, oh yeah, in America, no, you have to wear long sleeve shirts in the winter time. But it was just a regular long sleeve t-shirt. And let me tell you, when I first got that first hit of the snow coming off of the plane, that completely changed my life. So as much as I've come to love the seasonal changes, in Jamaica you only have one season and it's
Yes.
hot. So still trying to like navigate, even after 26 plus years, navigating the season changes sometimes it's like a love
Right.
thing for me.
Nice. So how did you, Samantha, I'll start with you. How did you end up in West Virginia?
Um, to be honest, I had that very convoluted
Journey?
journey entering this country. I started in Michigan, like I said before. As I was a student athlete, I was a thrower, so I was on a full ride scholarship for that. After Michigan, I went to New Jersey actually for 3 years to work. Lived with my aunt, and then I was actually interested in going to vet school. And I knew that I had to do some more classes, get some more research experience. So I was applying for grad school, and the opportunity presented itself at West Virginia. I came down here for an interview and started grad school. So it was just one of those things that the opportunity presented itself, and I was like, you know what? Why not? So yeah.
All right. And Greg, I think you've been there. 27 years, you've been
Oh,
there.
indeed I have. And like Samantha, I came for school, although I was fortunate because my aunt was a graduate student here, and I'd been to West Virginia a few times when I was growing up, and I kind of liked the state. And my dad said, West Virginia University, especially with your aunt, because you need discipline, young man, and your aunt is a good disciplinarian. So I'm going to send you to West Virginia University. So I got my undergrad in computer science here, and you'd think I had enough of it, but then I went back to Jamaica and I was like, man, I really miss West Virginia. So I came back, applied for my graduate degree, came back, did my master's in computer science. And then you think, okay, why not just do like what everybody does, go to Florida or New York or wherever? And no,
Yes.
I had to sort of go against the grain and decided to live in West Virginia. I got an opportunity to teach at a small rural university. And then I moved into industry. West Virginia, what people don't know is a lot of government agencies are here. So I was doing work for NASA and NOAA. And it was just a good opportunity. And then when the remote era sort of started, it was easy to find opportunities to work, but also still live in West Virginia with my family. So that's kind of my journey there.
Awesome. So you see, you had the opportunity to either go New York or Florida, and you could have stayed out of the cold. So don't complain. No
Oh no,
complaint.
I'm going to complain every time.
Um,
so so tell me, what cost of living is like there in West Virginia. I'll start with you, Samantha.
um, I would say, like, well, because I came from New Jersey right before this, rent is definitely cheaper here because it's a more rural area, not a big city like I was living in New Jersey. Food, I mean, food is expensive everywhere. But West Virginia is a poor state, so they try. their best to accommodate in terms of prices and stuff, but it's much better than living like, say, like I said, New York. So rent is
Okay.
cheaper, of course, and all that stuff. But it I would say it's average.
All right. Greg, anything to add?
I concur. I mean, I always look at the housing market as an indicator of a state and what I can afford in West Virginia. Um, for the price point, I couldn't necessarily afford something like that or want to afford something like this, what I have here in a larger state. So just looking at the housing market, while inventory is a little bit lower, you can certainly see that, what people, the price points that we're paying for what we get as houses, I couldn't even imagine paying for something like that somewhere like Boston or Florida.
That's true.
Nice, nice. So tell me, is there a Jamaican Caribbean community there? Samanthia, I know you're on campus. Well, you're kind of on campus, kind of, sort of, although virtual, maybe. Great.
Yeah.
But is there a Jamaican community?
Not that I've experienced. Honestly, I've not met too many Jamaicans here in Morgantown. I feel like if I was going to meet them anywhere in West Virginia, it would be in Morgantown. There is a Jamaican restaurant there that is owned by Jamaicans. That's
Jamaican.
as much Jamaican spice, yes. That's as much Jamaicans I've met. So there, I would say there's a much bigger African community. Nigerians, they take over the whole thing. Even in the lab I'm a part of, most of them are Nigerians. So it's not many Jamaicans, but a lot of Africans, especially Nigerians.
Mm.
Okay. Greg,
And,
anything to add?
yeah, and that's been a shift in recent years because when I was a student, there was a lot more emphasis on bringing student athletes from Jamaica, particularly for track and field. And so there was a huge contingent of Jamaicans when I was a student. And now, definitely few and further apart. Like I would have never known had it not been for this interview that there was a Jamaican doctoral student named Samanthia. So that
Now you
goes to
know.
show. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, any events though? Does the school or the community there have like maybe an independence ball or and again, I know it's kind of the tri-state or tri-state, well, four states. Maybe, but is there anything like that or nothing really?
Does
Not,
that?
not that I'm aware. The only thing I know, which I found out, it's a actually cool fact. One of the football players on our football team, he's actually Jamaican, and I thought that was really cool. I was really excited because I'm
Mhm.
one of those people. Anything Jamaican, I get really excited.
Oh
And
yeah.
any opportunity I have to share my Jamaicanness with anybody, I try. So even when I was in Michigan, that was a big problem I had where not many people were like, I only had one Jamaican, luckily my roommate, and she was a part of our team. We're, athletes. So I had a thing where I hosted a culturama every year through the office I worked with at the university for undergrad, where I was able to showcase my culture, not just mine, but a lot of international students, with other people to be
Culture.
like, hey, in this place that a lot of people don't know of, you have Jamaicans here, you have people from Ethiopia, all this stuff. I'm a big lover of culture and
Mhm.
where I can teach somebody something simple because I realized there were a lot of like misconceptions about us as Jamaicans or things that people have these ideas like, I'm like, no, we're regular people, we don't spend all day on the beach. We go to work and we do, you know what I mean? So any chance I have to share my Jamaicanness with anybody, I all for it. So, but yeah, I was really excited to find out that we have a football player on our team that is actually Jamaican.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And Greg, you've been there 27 years. Was
Mhm.
there ever an
Oh yeah.
independence um, ball, or was there ever some type of event where Jamaicans or even Caribbean people used to congregate or go to every year?
So I don't know if it's still a thing, no, but when I was there, when I was a college student, the International Students Association was pretty vibrant, and as I mentioned, correlating to a lot more Jamaicans at the time, it was pretty common for them to have an International Students Festival. And I remember, they would in the Samanthia, the Mountain Lair, which is like
Yes.
this big student activity center.
Hmm.
For the festival, what we used to be able to do is to literally get recipes from our countries, and they would put together a shopping list, and you could make things from your own country. And it was just, you could eat food from all over the world. And I don't know. I'm not going to profess to be any kind of big chef, but as I'm saying in Jamaica, you turn your hand like fashion, and I did a rice and peas. And boy, that was the best rice and peas I ever made. Could never make it again. But
Oh God.
You talk on food, and that was where I was going to next. So
Uh-huh.
I'm going to start with you, Greg. Where do you get your Jamaican food fix?
Well, sir, I mean, if I'm going to give you the politically correct answer, I'm going to tell you that whenever I really want a Jamaican food fix, I will go to Pembroke Pines and I will go get finger licking. However, I do sometimes go to Jamaican Spice as the Jamaican restaurant. So, it's this was recent, relatively speaking, right? Because before there was no Jamaican restaurant. Now, there was one place years ago, and it was out in this town called Elkins, and they had a Jamaican restaurant. And this college professor that I used to work with, he tells me about this restaurant out in Elkins, and you're going out into Elkins, and you're just like, oh no, 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 this just don't feel right. Windy road, trailers, just. And yeah, lo and behold, in the middle of Elkins was this Jamaican restaurant, and I could never find it back. So when Jamaican Spice opened up, I was like, rejoice. Then they closed for a while, and then I was like, man, the best I can do at this point is I can try some Peruvian food, and if I kind of look sideways, it tastes like Jamaican food. Not really. So I was quite elated when Jamaican Spice reopened.
All right. Samanthia, where do you get your fix?
I actually go to Jamaican Spice as well. It's the only place in Morgantown that you can get anything Jamaican. But I did, over the weekend, I did go to Pittsburgh, well, Carnegie specifically, but pretty much
Mhm.
Pittsburgh. And I tried a Jamaican place called, I think it's called Island Spice.
Hmm.
So yeah, I tried to, it's the closest things from Morgantown. So I tried there, but Jamaican Spice is my go-to.
All right. All right. I didn't hear anybody mention that. No, I go get the chicken and I cook up the
I
chicken.
mean, I do as well, but sometimes you want somebody else cooking other than your own. So
I hear you. I hear you.
Mhm.
I used to cook a lot myself. I've kind of over the years kind of tone it down. So I
yes,
hear you.
yes.
I understand.
And
I
it's
did-
hard to source some things. Like, I really want some stew peas, but I'm having a hard time to source any of those, like
Mhm.
the pig steel and stuff. So,
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And you
Yeah.
never hear me. Well, my signature dish was rice and peas.
rice and
I
peas.
mean, seriously.
I mean, I regularly make rice and peas. So, I can teach you a thing or two about rice and peas, So,
Well, I'm gonna commit blasphemy here. There is a rice cooker version of rice and peas, and so you could look it up on Jamaicans.com. But we do have the rice cooker version.
Okay.
you
You'll
know,
be surprised. Trust me.
I've
Don't
heard about
look.
people using rice cookers, and
I see the look.
I
Oh,
always judge people that use rice cookers, because it's only people that don't know how to make rice. If you can't make rice, I don't know how I can trust you to
uh-huh.
make anything else.
I mean, even me can make rice.
See, see, you know? Yes, I
Listen.
refuse to buy a rice cooker because I know how to make rice.
All right. Okay. All I'm saying is ease, quick, the technology. But I know for many it's blasphemy.
It sure
Mhm.
is.
I don't know.
So being Jamaicans out there in West Virginia, you must get some questions when people learn that you're Jamaican. I'm going to start with you, Samanthia. What are some of the questions you get?
Um, I get the usual stuff about the weed and the curse words. Everybody wants to learn a Jamaican curse word. But I do remember when I was in undergrad, I had a young lady ask me a question. I was actually really surprised. She asked me about the structure of our like political system and our education system. And I was so surprised I could barely answer because I'm like, normally everybody asks you, have you smoked weed before? Or, stuff like teach me a bad word and stuff like that. So, but yes, that's
Oh,
what I
wow.
usually.
She is a little bit more into the intellectual,
I was
political
really
part of it.
surprised.
Wow.
Exactly. So yes.
So, Greg, you must get some questions through the years. The
Yes.
best one. Tell us one of the best ones.
I don't know if I have a best one,
Okay.
but
Or a
I
good
will
one.
tell you that for some reason, Cool Runnings always seems to come into the conversation. And it's like, listen,
Uh,
no, yes, I saw Cool Runnings. In fact, I'm going to date myself here a little bit, but I saw Cool Runnings in the movie theater. And I also remember that there was a significant amount of cussing and popcorn that went on because of the portrayal of the Jamaican actors.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, so that was like the biggest question. And of course, the next big question is like, yes, back in college, people used to ask about weed, but that was like for ulterior reasons. Um, but, the other question I oftentimes get is, what happened to your dreadlocks? Not everybody in Jamaica is a Rastafarian. Big surprise.
oh jeez.
Oh, cool runnings. I can tell you for years on Jamaicans.com, the top search
Mhm.
on our website, it always consistently for about 12 years, more, probably even more, was the
Mhm.
top searched word or keyword that was searched. Cool
Run.
runnings. Yeah. And surprisingly, or not surprisingly, I think there was a survey in UK maybe 2 years ago
Mhm.
of the top movies in the UK, and Cool Runnings was in the top 10.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So,
Let me,
Wow. That's
oh yeah,
impressive.
but let
huge.
me
Go ahead.
let me ask you though. So have you noticed a change in the search patterns now that they released that new Bob Marley movie? Was it
Oh
One Love?
yes, one love,
um,
yeah.
yeah, there has been. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but Marley has always been one of the top
Mm.
keywords, and
Mhm.
so it's been consistent. Marley has always been a top keyword because
Mhm.
I mean, obviously the biggest ambassador everywhere. You said Jamaica, everybody knows
Bob
uh,
Marley.
Bob
Yeah.
Marley right off the top.
Mhm.
So West Virginia. Tell me what I know you mentioned the seasons, Greg, but tell me what else you just absolutely love about the state. And think of you saying to me or someone else, this is why you should come to West Virginia.
So West Virginia, one thing that I've really come to appreciate, especially living in Morgantown, it is a melting pot. In general, West Virginia tends to be a very rural community, white, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant. That's the majority. But in Morgantown itself, it tends to have a lot more diversity. What I really, really love about it is the tranquility. Here in Morgantown, you live your life, no one really bothers you. The crime rate is relatively low. And I've just found it to be a really good place to live and to raise my family. I have two young daughters, they're twins, they're 5. And there's a lot that they can get exposed to living in West Virginia. Just, walking down the road, our neighbors are from all different countries. And, it's just a very chill vibe here.
Nice, nice. Samantha.
I must agree with Greg. I must say pepperoni roll for sure. That's a big thing. So if you're from West Virginia, pepperoni roll is a go to thing I've come to learn. And
Wait. So back up. What is pepperoni roll now? Because you all are there having this, and he's giving the thumbs up and like, yeah, and I have no clue, and maybe the majority of people watching here have no clue what this is.
All right.
so go ahead, Greg. You can
No, no,
explain
no.
to me
You,
what
you,
pepperoni.
no, you. I love to hear I love to hear the explanation of another
So
Jamaican.
this is my best description of a pepperoni roll. Think of a pizza in a roll. If
Okay.
I guess it's not exactly a roll, but it's like a pizza dough kind of thing, bread dough, and in the middle of it, people put different stuff, but usually there's pepperoni, cheese in there. You can get it spicy, mild. You can get anything how you want to make it, but generally it's a pepperoni with pizza in there, and it's breaded, and they bake
Mhm.
it into like a bread. It's
So,
absolutely tasty.
so
No,
the big question is it a West Virginia thing or is it an export from New York to West Virginia?
it's a West Virginia thing, and I can
It's
give
a
you.
West Virginia thing, I
I
would
can,
say.
yeah, it is,
Yeah.
and I can tell
I
you exactly why.
In addition to the pepperoni roll, I must say there's a feeling of I don't know how to describe it, but I've noticed it. There's this feeling that you get when you go to the games, and they win when they have a tradition whenever they win any home games. They play the state song, which we've adopted from Denver, "Take Me Home, Country Roads." So they play that, and everybody stands up, and they're swaying, and everybody's hugging, and there's
Mhm.
this sense of the only other time I felt that is singing the Jamaican national anthem. So that's
Oh,
the best description I can give it. It sends chills down your spine because it just is such a good feeling. Everybody's just singing, and there's
Mhm.
just a love for West Virginia when you're singing that. And that for me is something I've grown to love about West Virginia. They're very prideful people, and they love their state. So definitely West Virginia is, yes, I 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Yes, and to that, country roads is a huge
Oh
thing.
yes.
It's funny too because you remember Toots and the Maytals. They did a version of country
Yes.
roads too.
yes.
I have that version on my phone actually.
so so somebody got to sneak that one at the stadium and see the reaction one of these days.
I actually
Yes,
have
man.
videos of people singing it at the basketball games.
Oh, the, the,
Oh,
the, the Jamaican version? Yes.
No, not the Jamaican version, but
The Toots. I mean, the Toots version is what I'm saying.
be very confused because they'd be singing the words and wait, that's not the words. They'd catch on pretty quickly. Trust me.
that's funny.
So, I really appreciate you guys telling us a little bit about, West Virginia and what it's all about. So, what are the industries that are kind of developing? You see, emerging there for someone thinking of moving to West Virginia.
In terms of the industries,
Yeah.
so that's one of the disadvantages I consider to be for West Virginia. Um, Coal mining is one of the bigger things that you find in West Virginia. And to the whole story of the pepperoni roll, it was actually a West Virginia thing that the coal miners used to make these rolls because they had everything that you needed and you could take it underground. And so that's the thing. But it's just a big part of the culture that, like coal mining, a lot of blue collar type work. Um, the tech sector is more focused on government work. So, I work in tech, and the companies that I work for are traditionally startups, and it's very hard to find the type of work that I do now because of the whole remote thing in West Virginia. But at the same time, there is like a lot of government tech if people are interested in that. Um,
Okay.
for example, you ever seen on like NCIS or one of those shows where they do the fingerprint search? Um, for like felons. It is the place where they do the fingerprint search is actually not too far from us in Clarksburg, West Virginia. So there's a strong NASA, NOAA, Department of Defense, Department of Commerce presence in the state. And medicine is also a big thing. Like, you know, our WVU medicine is pretty well known, and you know they're expanding pretty quickly. So a lot of people in the hospital is actually the school, the state's biggest employer.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if I know you're still in school, so probably not looking at the industry, but maybe you do have some insight here, Samanthia.
I'm getting close to that time where I'm gonna have to start to look at that. However, West Virginia is really not, as much as I love West Virginia, you know, I think it's time for me to explore somewhere else. So, and also with, you know, being in animal science, it's not a lot of opportunity in West Virginia to do the type of work that I want to do. So, you know, I have to go to bigger cities to pursue that.
Okay. Well, guys, listen, thank you for spending some time giving us some insight on West Virginia. I have a scenario for each of you. I'm gonna start with you, Samanthia. You fly to Jamaica, you get out the airport. What is that first thing you're either doing, eating, or the place you're going?
Definitely have to have a zinger from KFC and cheese patty and a cocoa bread. So that is from Tasties. So that is my go-to: patty, cocoa bread, cheese, of course, and of course a spicy zinger sandwich from KFC.
Okay. Greg?
Yes, I'm a traditionalist, right? So the first thing that I would have to find once I land, I mean, the KFC barbecue chicken hits like no other. I mean, there's no words that can express it. You can never get barbecue KFC here ever. But patty and a cocoa bread from Tasty, well, I guess Tasty, sugar and spice, you know, that would be my thing. And of course, if I could find a nice tall glass of sorrel, yeah.
Funny enough, I was just talking about some sorrel today. I'm a year-rounder. I love sorrel year-round. It's not reserved for Christmas time for me.
You live where it's available year-round, then you know that it's easy.
Yeah. But listen, you can go on Amazon and get the dried sorrel sent to you. You just dry it. Yeah. Well, guys, listen, thank you. And again, you know, listen, you know, West Virginia, it sounds like it's fun. It's, you know, depending on what you like and the vibe you like, it sounds like, hey, it can be fun.
Yes, go Mountaineers.
There
we go.
By the way, both of you have on your Mountaineers. I know most didn't see it, but Samanthia, there she goes.
West Virginia.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Show some love now. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss a video.